Hello everyone and welcome to Fuse Room. I'm Alberto. In this video we're going to talk about Taip by Baby Audio. Taip is a tape emulation plugin. And I know what you're thinking. Why would you want to watch another video of a tape emulation plugin when we have so many laying around? Well, Taip doesn't use convolution sampling, doesn't use component modeling, it actually uses AI, artificial intelligence. So now we know that in their mission to take over the world, AI decided to start from tape machines. You gotta start somewhere, right? So what you have here is some sort of modern alien tape deck with two reels, one being drive and the other one being output. Then on top, you have presets and you have colors that you can change. So from dark gray to almost white. You can save your presets, you can reset the plugin, and you can bypass it through the clicking on the logo, which is typical of Baby Audio stuff. I would say first and foremost, the two main things that you immediately see are the reels, which are drive, which actually create more or less drive, and output, which is an output stage that is more of a trim than anything that could have an analog sounding stuff. It looks to me as if it's really linear. What strikes me as kind of unique is that Taip is dynamic. It's moving even if I'm not doing anything just because of the signal passing through the spectrum for our tests. And now I'm sending a -18 dB FS signal through it, and you see that kind of movement. But if I were to crank the input up, you see that the plugin reacts differently. So we know that this plugin is dynamic by definition. So if a transient hits the plugin at a specific point and it goes close to -1 dB FS, the plugin's going to have a different reaction than what's going to happen if it gets hit by a -18 dB FS signal. And that is incredibly important because tape does behave non-linearly to the time domain variables as well. So that's great. And that was the first thing that kind of caught my eye when I saw these technical sort of analysis. So first and foremost, you have a drive auto gain on and off. I usually keep it on and it auto gains the drive effects when you go plus over 0 so that you get more drive and saturation without getting the added input gain. You have a mix slider that brings it from 0, which is dry signal, to 100, which is full wet. And then you have two main variables, input and model. Input is normal or hot, depending on whether you want to drive a normal kind of input signal or you want to drive things hotter, the way you would do it with the normal tape deck. Some people would like for tracking or to get some kind of vibe for, I don't know, drum tracks, for example. The model, single or dual, is quite unique because if you put it to dual, you have sort of like two tape machines working at half the drive that you set up. So they become sort of like two tape machines working for the same purpose. And it's got, I would say, the capability of making your sound a little bit thicker, a little bit denser. So it's definitely something that's cool to have because sometimes, it really works better and you hear it immediately. So you see that there's a change in shape in what it does. Then you have 3 sliders on the left and 3 sliders on the right, and you're done, which is really, really cool. The first one being noise, which is background noise that the machine generates. You have a wear slider that adds the group of wear-based tone factors to the signal. So you have sort of like a wobble, you have a little bit of flutter, all the stuff that is generated by tape machines because of their age and non-perfect conditions. The glue is compression. So it helps thicken the sound and it helps things be a little bit more together, hence the name, glue. Presence makes the high registry towards like a 5K bell become a little bit more pronounced. Really great for those kind of tape machines that I really like where the highs get saturated but also brought forward. And then you have high shape and low shape, which decide how much saturation you will have in the high and low areas of your spectrum. So they can go from a positive 100 to -100, and the same happens for low shape. And again, these effects are dynamic. So the hotter the signal, the different the shape and curves will be. Then if we go to harmonic analysis, we see that there's noise, and we also see that if we increase noise, obviously we see the noise floor raising up. And notice there's sort of like a different left-right noise, as you would expect from a real tape machine. Before we continue, full disclosure, Baby Audio sponsors my music education initiatives, and they want to help. So if you want to buy any plugin from them, use my affiliate link, and when checking out, use my discount coupon code. You're going to get 10% discount, and I'm going to get help from Baby Audio from your sales, and my music education programs are going to get better and better. So let's continue. For the examples, we're just going to run some of the songs. I have Taip set at its default preset, and I'm just gonna tinker with it without saying anything, and then I'm gonna dial the parameters until I like what I hear. Then we're gonna briefly explain it and move on to the next example. Right on. It can be really subtle if you want, but it has the features that I like from Taip. It has the high frequency saturation, the fact that it gets glued a little bit more, and that the lows and highs kind of work more together, and it kind of cleans some of the areas. So here I went for a little bit more of an aggression factor because it's kind of a punk rock attitude. I like some noise. You notice that when I was going with wear towards anything over 0, whenever you change the mix from 100 going down, you're gonna get a notification, tape flanging on. This is important because the plugin is telling you that you're gonna have flanging. And also you better want that because, that's an effect. And if you don't want that, probably you gotta, take the wear back to 0 if you wanna run parallel for other purposes. So these I really like. I'm gonna move to an electronic piece and again, reset the plugin here. And just, have another go at it. No noise, no wear, normal, single, no presence, 0 shape, and 20 for the low shape, which seems to be the default. The original preset is kind of louder than the normal one, so I would probably go a -2, and I will make this my own very preset. Store as default. Boom. All right, so here we go with an electronic piece. I really like this example because when I started, I wanted to kind of take these from clean lows to a more lo-fi kind of vibe. You know, there's a lot of songs that could have this sort of genre taken into more of a lo-fi vibe these days. And it worked really well with just a mix of like 10%. Then I moved to Dual, which initially was way darker, and I think it did the same with the other song, but now we kind of got it to work because I brought the presence, you know, a lot higher. I went with actually a glue of almost halfway through, and the low shape stayed in the middle, and I kind of went negative with the high shape. It loses some of the clean factor of the lows, which would be again typical of the tape machines. I remember when we mastered these, we tried a tape master that the client didn't like because of the clean subs getting a little bit, you know, just transformed by the tape. Here, I'm actually capable of preserving those lows in, you know, a much better way while still getting some kind of grit and separation in the stereo field. So some of the synths and noise effects are kind of a little bit more enjoyable. Now I'm gonna move completely to another genre, and we're gonna try tape on a Brazilian jazz tune.
Eu gosto de viver nessa cidade, de ouvir o apito insano do metrô, subir pelas escadas rolantes, flutuantes, de andar me cansar na corrida, que São Paulo não pode parar. Eu gosto de viver nessa cidade, mesmo quando eu me sinto mais só. Toda essa solidão nos aproximou as mãos, isso nos fez um bem tão grande. Quanta confusão, quase que me deixa tonta. Quando o amor me ronda, me espreita, me sonda, e ele sabe que me encontra pronta, totalmente pronta. Eu gosto de viver nessa cidade, pelo tanto que fazemos por nós duas.
I really love how it got really vintage. I managed to do like a cymbals well with the flanging effect. That wasn't my intention, but it was pretty cool. It happened in real time. And a little bit of noise, a little bit of glue, actually, again, almost close to 50%. There's quite some drive. I went back through the mix knob, and I think that maybe I would even, you know, now I'm making examples that have to be a little bit more overt, but we probably landed around 30-40% tops, and it would have that sort of vibe that would be very elusive but artistic in terms of what tape could do to a song like this. Bring it back into the dimension of loss of detail but added sort of like musical vibe, right? So to summarize these examples, I would say that Taip is great at giving you the effects of tape without the added footprint of the tape deck. And this is incredibly modern. It's something that not a lot of plugins do, and it's more in tune with DAW-based music production because you have a lot of different processors in plugin form, and you don't want to bring with yourself everything that a tape deck does. Sometimes it's too old, too heavy, too, you know, unnecessary. So here you can really learn and fine-tune those simple parameters and always get what tape would do, but, you know, within a context of a more modern music production style. So again, thank you very much for tuning in. See you next time. Ciao.